Hey guys, what's going on? I hope everybody's doing great. Thank you everybody for subscribing so far. It's been really fun to watch our community grow. And the feedback has been great with the videos and the comments. I've tried to get to every comment as quickly as possible, but after so many, it's hard to catch up. But thank you, and I hope you enjoy the content. And please, if you're new, please think about subscribing, like, and comment. Today's video, I'm going to talk about, I read an article from CNN. I know fake news, but this was one that I think I wanted to share with you. And I'm gonna put the link in the description so you can read it for yourself. But I wanted to talk about real quick, a few quick notes from it that I wanted to talk about. The article is Americans borrow $88 billion annually to pay for health care, according to the survey. It says about 1 in 8 had to resort to borrowing to afford care in the previous year. According to the West Health Gallup survey released last Tuesday. Also, this survey says that 65 million adults said they had a healthcare issue but didn't seek help due to the cost. Also, the survey says nearly a quarter had to cut back on spending to pay for health care and also their medicine. So you can read the whole article. It's a really good article. It's a sad article because if you look at the numbers, $88 billion. Americans had to borrow $88 billion to pay for health care and medicine. And 65 million Americans didn't seek help because they couldn't afford it. This is why people on the left, progressives, and you know, now 51% of Republicans support Medicare for all. Is because the 65 million Americans are not just progressives or liberals or I'm sure there's a lot of conservatives in there, Trump supporters in there, that are hurting, that are dying out there. You know, we hear all the time that our elderly, our grandparents, are cutting their medication in half, so they can stretch it out because they can't afford the prescription anymore. Because it's getting the cost of pharmaceuticals is skyrocketing, and nobody seems to give a damn right now. It's only a few people that I believe that are talking about it. I know the litmus test right now is Medicare for all. All of these freaking candidates on the Democratic side are calling for it. But to be honest, there's only maybe 3 that I believe that even would push for it. That's Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, and maybe Elizabeth Warren. Everybody else takes takes money from pharmaceutical companies, takes money from healthcare companies. Gillibrand is having a fundraiser with one of the CEOs of Pfizer. But nobody's talking about that because they are the ones that are going to do the bidding for the establishment. Those are the ones, the Bookers, the Harrises. Those are the ones that are going to do the bidding. And the ones that are not going to do the bidding are the ones that are getting smeared constantly. About tax returns, about meeting with other leaders of other countries. Like come on, really? Millions and millions of Americans are hurting. And we rather spend trillions of dollars of endless war than to help our Americans that live here, our veterans that live here. Am I missing something? I don't know if I see on Twitter and I see the right. I follow the right, the left, the center. I'm not in any echo chamber. I look and I listen to everybody. But it seems the narrative that I see on the neolibs and some conservatives that I see that are opposed to Medicare for all. They're constantly talking about cost, cost, cost. You want to bankrupt this country? Do you want to bankrupt it? But just in two wars alone right now, Iraq and Afghanistan, I'm just using 2 wars. We're bombing 8 different right now. Two wars right now. When everything is said and done, it's going to cost us $9 trillion. I'm going to say it again, $9 trillion. But you don't hear a effing peep from anybody, any of the neocons talking about, we're going to bankrupt this country. Ron Paul and Rand Paul are pretty much, for me, that I've heard in my political, watching this whole political circus, have been calling out their own party on this very issue. That both the right and the left love big government. The only disagreement is where the money is going to go. The left want to give health care, they want to invest in infrastructure, and on and on and on, right? The right neocons want to spend it on war and tax breaks for the rich and things of that nature. We just gave trillions of dollars in tax breaks and not one peep from mainstream media of how you're going to pay for it. Not Jake Tapper, not Chris Cuomo, not anybody asked how are we going to pay for it. If you even ask the question or even bring it up about maybe we should get like a healthcare system. How dare you? You want to use my taxpayer money for healthcare? But what about the $9 trillion on the war? Crickets. What about the trillions of dollars in tax breaks? Crickets. So please spare me that we can't afford it anymore. Please, please stop saying this country can't afford it. Jimmy Dore says it all the time. We are the largest, richest country in the world. 2 times the size of China. And you're telling me we can't afford it? But when we can afford $1.5 trillion for jets that can't fly, $9 trillion of endless war. What was the latest number came out? 60% of every dollar of your tax money is going to the military-industrial complex to fund their wars? And nobody seems to give a damn. Like, only the people that care and really dive in with the anti-war. People talk to me about how, why is Tulsi leading with foreign policy? And I'd say to them, and Nico House has pointed out as well, and Kyle Kalinske, and our foreign policy dictates our domestic policy. I'm going to say that again. Our foreign policy dictates our domestic policy. Because that's always going to be the fallback. We're spending more than half of our tax money on war and military bases around this world. They're going to turn back on you and say, we can't afford it. That's the fallback. Now, if we dial it back, the regime change wars and so on and so forth, there won't be any we can't afford it argument because we're not spending trillions of dollars on war. We're not losing our wonderful men and women in endless war and proxy wars and bombing 8 different countries and paying for jets that can't fly. This is why we need Medicare for all. Because Americans are borrowing $88 billion to pay for their care because they can't afford it. Because 80% of Americans are literally working paycheck to paycheck. They are one $500 to $1,000 emergency to be, in dire straits. We need somebody to really push for change in America and really push for policies that are going to help the American people, because right now everybody's hurting. Left, right, center, libertarian, everybody's hurting. 65 million people didn't get care because they could not afford it. This is the first world country. We have our citizens waiting probably until the last minute with agonizing pain probably until they can't take it anymore and they have to go to the emergency room to get care and find out that they have something so dire that it's already too late. And I know people are going to say, oh, you're pulling the heartstrings. No, because I actually give a damn about my fellow brothers and sisters in this country. I care about our veterans. I care about sending them to war. I care. And more people are caring too. I see it. I do see it out there. But we need our politicians to give a shit. Because they're taking money from Big Pharma. They're taking money from the military industrial complex. They're taking money from everybody. And they don't give a shit. They pander to us only during election season. That's the only time they talk to us. It's the only time they care because you have the vote for them. And enough people are so not into it that they vote for them knowing that they haven't done diddly fucking squat for them in their however many years their term is. So I know I just went on a freaking rant. I'm sorry. Because every time I think about people not getting the care that they need, it drives me nuts. Because we're supposed to be Americans and we're supposed to care about one another. And I don't care if you're conservative. I don't care if you voted for Donald Trump. I don't care if you voted for Bush 27,000 times. We are Americans. And we're supposed to care about each other. And I hope that my conservative brothers and sisters feel the same way. Because in the end, we are Americans. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. And I'm going to link the article in there and you can read it for yourself. But this election cycle, vote on the policies that affect you. If you're anti-war and I take a closer look at Tulsi Gabbard. Let's get her on the debate stage. She still needs a couple of thousand more to get on the debate stage. Go to Tulsi2020.com. She's definitely worth a second look. You take care, guys. Until next time, peace.